So this is the real budget on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Before I had to call it quit on realizing what I was doing, which was not making sense at all in this system that we are living in. One day I had to take my pen and my paper and I had to do the mathematics myself, because living in this country has become like...
As I told Kenyans on my first day in office, times were difficult and many people are struggling, and necessary and effective sustainable solutions were urgently needed. We must admit, honorable members, that as a country, we had been living large and way beyond our means.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, dear Kenyans, wherever you are, and the world, welcome all to our YouTube TV. Call me Shadrach Kakai. I'm very, very glad to come to you this particular hour of time, wherever you are. In October, 12th of October 2024, President William Ruto witnessed the signing of the Gazette notice that will implement 6% minimum wage increment for employees across various sectors. The notice, signed by the Labour Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua at State House, Nairobi, will take effect from November 1st, 2024. For those who are watching us for the very first time, I'm requesting that you smash that subscribe button. Also hit the thumbs up. Remember also to notify and share to a friend. Before I started off my channel, this Jenga Kenya YouTube TV 2 years ago, I used to work as a soldier, the gatekeeper or the watchman. So I've been in a position of working in sectors that are very, very difficult and very challenging. And therefore today, as Jenga Kenya, I'm here to share in this Gazette notice that was signed on 12th of October 2024, whereby our leaders are really thinking about the welfare of the Kenyan people. And in the Gazette notice, we realize that we have to celebrate because there is an increment of 6% on our wage, right? Now, if I should tell you the minimum wage that I used to earn as a soldier or a gatekeeper, it was up to 5,000 Kenyan shillings. That is 2 years ago. Until now, nothing has changed. The maximum that I used to earn per month was 10,000 Kenyan shillings, but it was only possible to earn this 10,000 Kenyan shillings when I worked from date 1 to the last day of the month. Any day across the month, whenever I could not go to work, that one I was penalized for the same. And that is why my minimum wage could stand as low as 5,000 and could only come to 10,000 when I was in a position of working for all the 30 days or 31 days. So this is the real budget on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Before I had to call it quit on realizing what I was doing, which was not making sense at all in this system that we are living in. One day I had to take my pen and my paper and I had to do the mathematics myself, because living in this country has become like living in hell. It's difficult, my brothers and sisters. Even while our leaders seem to be caring and sitting down thinking about us by increasing this by 6%, anybody who is out there, if you should increase 6% on a minimum wage of, let's say, 7,500, because that is the minimum wage that somebody is required to be paid when we are talking today. Now mine was 10,000. How much is 6% of 10,000? Is it 600? You can do the mathematics. So this 600 is the amount that I'm supposed to be celebrating today, while our leaders are doing all they can to make sure that we are leading a comfortable life. Let me give you my budget, and this is what made me to quit the work and say I would rather be than be a slave to this nation. Let me give you some breakdown. I live in Nakuru, and Nakuru seems to be the cheapest city in the whole of Kenya. So housing is a little bit cheap and modest as compared to bigger cities like Nairobi. And somehow Eldoret, Kisumu is more expensive than we can be able to compare here in Nakuru. But having said that, the minimum wage remains to be as little as 10,000. Let me give you a breakdown on how I used to spend my income so that you can be able to relate to what I'm talking about in relationship to the minimum wage that the government is suggesting for us. Now, this is the list of the family. I'm taking a sample of the list of the family. A family of probably a mother and a father and 2 children only. Now, I and my wife and my 2 children, both of them are at school. I need a house rent of 5,000 Kenyan shillings, at least 1 bedroom, 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, multiplying 5,000 by 12 months, I need to cough out 60,000 Kenyan shillings per year. Let me come to one of another basic commodity in the family, that is food. Breakfast alone, let us start with bread. It is town. We can't go anywhere to beg for food. You must buy everything. Bread alone, because one bread is not enough, but we have to do it because of the fixed budget that we have. So we have to go for the bread, which is a little bit, 75 shillings, Kenyan shillings per bread, which we can be able to share among the 4 of us, I, my wife, and 2 children. Now, 75 shillings in 30 days, multiplied by 12, it comes to a total of 27,000 shillings per year, that is. Bread alone, 27,000 shillings. Sugar, let's assume that we are using ile kidogo koroboi of 50 shillings. In 365 days, you have to cough out 18,250. Sugar alone, using 50 shillings every other day. That is what I've been using for all the years. Let's come to milk, because tea doesn't make sense without milk. We are just talking about that which is you can't do without. Milk, 75 Kenyan shillings in average across the year, because it keeps on varying. It can go as high as 100 shillings per month, per day, per liter, that is. So 75 Kenyan shillings in 365 days also comes to 27,000 shillings in a year. Unga, which is a must, and I'm assuming that in our home we are not going to change any diet. We are only going to survive on unga, ugali. So unga minimum 60 Kenyan shillings, number 2, for 365 days, it comes to a total of 21,900 Kenyan shillings. Let's talk about cooking oil. The list of the cooking oil that we can be able to spend, a minimum is 5 liters per month. That is the list when you are only cooking ugali and you are cooking your green vegetables properly. It costs 1,205 liters. That is in a month. When you multiply by 12 months, it comes to a total of 12,720. That is 1 year. Let's come to cooking gas. 1,300 per month. If you are only cooking very light meal in the morning, lunchtime, and even supper. Most of the time, lunchtime, people go without it. This day, they call it kuinama. You just bend and then lunch crosses, flies over you. So 1,300 in 12 months, it comes to 15,600 Kenyan shillings. Now that I have not included some budgets of like vegetable and some other extras, I have just to add an expense call, which I have to call other expenses. Let us make it 30,000 per year, which could even be more than that. Now, because I have children and they are going to school, I want to give you also a breakdown of what is my daily requirement for these children to get to school. Remember, we have only one breadwinner who is going out to fetch for the family. Now I've got 2 children. Every day, because I cannot be able to afford their boarding fee, I must be able to cough out every day their transport fee. We call it bus fare to school and even back home. I'll have to use a motorbike in this case. One student in my house will have to use 100 shillings, 52 and 52 back to home. So for 2 of my children, every day I have to spend 200 Kenyan shillings. Let's assume one term has 66 days alone. So 66 days multiplied by 200 Kenyan shillings, multiplied by 3 terms in a year, you come to a total of 39,600 Kenyan shillings. That is per term, per year. I'm only talking about transport to school for my child. Let's talk about the student accessories. We have not mentioned anything to do with the books and anything else that is associated with them, preparation for them to go to school. Let's just give it a minimum figure of 17,500 Kenyan shillings. Medical expenses, every other time, quite often we fall sick. Yes, we have the NHIF, is currently called Shifa or Sha. I don't know how to pronounce it well. But whenever you go to the hospital, you want to use this card. It's only used for taking the test. But when it comes to medical prescriptions, you are asked and required to go and purchase some drugs from outside the facility, medical facility. So let us give it a rough estimate of 20,000 Kenyan shillings. And let us also go back to the children going back to school, because they just can't go to school and stay like that. Yes, we are grateful because the government has introduced something called tuition fee, which is being paid by the government. But do you think it's free? Now, considering all the expenses that I've been able to analyze to you, you still need to pay something that is called school feeding program. Every student or every child to school is required to pay at least 3,000 Kenyan shillings per month. Now, 3,000 Kenyan shillings, when you have 2 children in your home, roughly it's 6,000 every other term. So every other term, this one family has to cough out 6,000 Kenyan shillings to be able to feed the children on the school feeding program. That multiplied by 3 months, it translates to 18,000 Kenyan shillings per year. Let's talk about emergencies, because everything comes up every other time. Something happens, many of which I have not been able to include here. So just give it a rough estimate of 60,000 Kenyan shillings. That is for somebody who is earning the minimum amount for you to be able to survive here in Kenya. Let's move on, because this person that is providing for the family also need to get out so that he is capable of fending for the same family. You go out looking for that minimal employment that we are talking about, which I used to do 2 years ago. When you are a soldier, or when you are a gatekeeper, or you are a cook for that matter, probably you are given the highest pay you can be able to be given is 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Okay? Now 10,000 Kenyan shillings, you are supposed to look for this employment far away from home, because we all live in our hoods where nobody is willing to invite you along, even to work for him or her. So we have to go fetch for this employment in the cities. Now, my daily fare from my home to the city, I have to spend at least 150 Kenyan shillings on my transport on good days. That is on average. Now, if I have to maximize all my working days, because without maximizing all my working days, I know that I won't be able to earn the 10,000 Kenyan shillings. So I have to work 30 days or even 31 days in a month. So 150 Kenyan shillings on transport for 30 days comes to 4,500 Kenyan shillings. If I can multiply 4,500 Kenyan shillings in 12 months, I come to 54,000. That is fair to and from in a good year, one solid year, working 365 good days. I have to cough out 54,000 Kenyan shillings. Let me talk about lunch, because most of the time those who go out seeking for this have no time to feed themselves, or still they don't have even the money to feed themselves. Let's give my lunch 60 Kenyan shillings, we always feed on the cheapest in town, which may cost like 60 Kenyan shillings. That is madondo, probably with one chapati. 60 Kenyan shillings for 365 days. That translates to 21,900 Kenyan shillings. Brothers and sisters, that is the total. With all this, we are not factoring in anything. I've not mentioned about vegetables. I've not mentioned about anything else. So let's just give other expenses 30,000 Kenyan shillings. I've not factored in anything else. These are just basics. Now, let us do the mathematics, because of all the totals, if we add up all the sums, the total expenses comes to 455 Kenyan shillings 220. Total expenses that you are required to have in your pocket to make your life just alive. All you need is 455 220 Kenyan shillings to survive. This is what we need. This is not what we are earning. Whatever we are earning 120 Kenyan shillings. We are earning 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, 10,000 maximum. If I've worked for all the 30 or the 31 or the 28 days in a month, I'll be able to earn 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, 10,000 Kenyan shillings, when you translate it, you total it up to constitute the 12th month. This means that in a year, I'll be earning 120 Kenyan shillings. 120 Kenyan shillings against my expenses, total expense of 455 220 Kenyan shillings. I'm earning 10,000 Kenyan shillings per month. And let us compare it with our MP. We know that they do a lot of work, yes. Somebody says, whatever we do with our mind is greater than what we do with our muscles. And that is why here in Kenya, blue-collar job has no value, but the white-collar job pays everything. So let us compare this payment with a brother, an MP probably. I'm not saying that everybody should get out there, or I'm just comparing the discrepancies, because these are the real figures on the ground, brothers and sisters. And this is all that we need to survive in our country, dear country, Kenya. Now, an MP earns 750 Kenyan shillings. That is according to the statistics that we are given. We are not so sure. But then we have other benefits that come with it. We all have, we have the grants that they are given. A grant means something that is just given by law. I presume those who have started because I've not been in a business class, a grant is something that you are not mandated to pay back. So you can do with it anything. They have the grants. We have the sitting allowance. And then the sitting allowance, you are paying somebody for the work that he is paid to do. Okay, it varies from 5,000 according to the statistics, and it could even go higher, as high as, I don't know, they know it. Considering what the sitting is all about. If it's all about impeaching a governor, probably it could go high. Or if it's impeaching like the deputy president, it could even double. I'm not saying they are paid, but I presume because at every sitting they must be paid that sitting allowance, and that is why probably they might be willing to go the extra hours even to do what they are supposed to be doing constitutionally. So assuming this person is earning 1 million, an MP is earning 1 million, and I am earning 10,000 Kenyan shillings. So when you divide 1 million to 10,000, you remain with a figure 100. So 100 are the number of months that I'm supposed to work. The number of months that I'm supposed to work to earn as much as that which an MP has been able to earn in one month. So 100 months divided by 12, that translates to 8 years, 8.5 years. before I can be able to earn this 1 million Kenyan shillings. What has necessitated me to do all this calculation is because of this Gazette notice, Nairobi, Kenya, October 12th. President William Ruto witnessed the signing of a Gazette notice this morning that will implement 6% minimum wage increment for employees across various sectors. I presume that our leaders don't understand the minimum requirement that a normal Kenya really needs. So when we do the calculation, basing on the income that I have been earning, you realize that there's a deficit of close to 300,000 that is on the lower side that every Kenyan needs so that to live a decent life without expecting to invest in anything are very big discrepancies. So where does all this money go to? Okay, where does all this money go to? Even with this, we are supposed to pay the taxes, because without declaring, submitting your tax to the Kenya Revenue Authority, it becomes a problem. I just wanted to bring you to notice about the discrepancies that we are having. Probably somebody is not informing our leadership well, and we have got nothing against this, but if they can be considerate of what the real Kenyan, the real mwananchi, the 75% or even the 80% of the Kenyans are going through, they'll have a different heart to their approach to whatever they are doing in serving our beautiful country, Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to end my tears of shed today, having shared my wages and my experiences. This is Jenga Kenya YouTube TV, and I remain to be your big brother Shed. When we stop talking, we start fighting, and that is not the way we wish to go. See you in my next video, and bye for now.